everybody. We're going to go ahead and we just did the how to place an image inside of text, and now we're going to place multiple images inside of text. Now the key is to this assignment is that I want you to learn how to do it for yourself. You don't have to pick the same images as I do. Go ahead and pick a word that you like, and pick the images that associate with that word, which is what I would prefer you to do. I've decided to go differently than space, and I've decided to go with ocean. So I'm going to go ahead and open my background image that I want. So I'm going to go to open. Oop, just a second. I'm going to go to open, and I'm going to find my ocean, which is right here somewhere. Right here, open. I've already pre-downloaded all my images. And like I said, the size of it here, it doesn't matter. It just needs to go around the center. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find a font. We're going to use the text tool. And go ahead and select your font. I'm going to use Impact again. I like Impact because it does have a nice big bold font, and it's easy to place the image and clearly see the image within the font. Okay, so first I'm going to do is type the O, and I'm going to make it as large as possible. Go ahead and you can hold the Control or Command, and you can go ahead and open it like so. Now I want to make sure that ocean is going to fit. So I'm going to write it. I'm going to center it, and then I'm going to go ahead and kind of resize it so that I have it. I'm going to place it like this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the other letters because in order to do this project, you have to do it one letter at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and just wanted to do that for sizing. I'm going to move this letter over to the side here, and I'm going to hit the check button. Now, before I keep going, I'm going to crop this image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rectangle marquee. I'm going to draw a rectangle like this around it, go to image, and I'm going to hit crop. And that is going to crop my image so I can have just the ocean and that nice sky, the sunlight coming through the water there. First things first is the text, the color of the text doesn't matter, but I'm going to go ahead and make it black. Okay. What is important though is the stroke around it. We're going to add a layer style around that. And it's going to duplicate with every letter. So we only have to do it one time. So I'm going to go to the FX on the layers panel. I'm going to go to stroke, which is an outline. And I'm going to go ahead and pick the color. I'm going to pick white for the exterior. And what it's going to do is just going to create a line on the outside. You don't have to make it huge, but you want to just be able to differentiate it from the images because they do have a lot of blue, and it just makes it a lot easier to see the word. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that like that. First things first is I've already selected my background image, and I also selected all my images for the word ocean. So it's OCEAN, OCE, that is five letters. So I have 5 images that I'm going to place inside of each. Now, essentially, it's the same technique as just placing one, except we're going to resize each picture on top of each individual letter. So, all right, guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that O. I'm going to hit Control J, and I'm going to drag that O over to the right. I'm going to write every single letter first before I go ahead and bring those pictures in. I'm going to select it, delete, and hit C, and hit the check. And then I'm going to continue that by hitting Control J, moving the letter over, and just changing what letter it is. So all I'm going to do is hit Control or Command J again on that C. Move it over. like so. Highlight it. Make it an E. And I'm going to continue that for every letter. All right, so now that I've done that, I can go ahead and use my move tool, and I can move those letters as long as you just use the move tool and click on them. You can move them over like so. I got to make sure that you don't have an extra O. Just go ahead and delete that. And then you can just click on them with the move tool and use the arrow keys to move each letter over. You don't want to have too much space between each, but you want to make sure that every single one fits in there. So there we go. We got a nice, work down a little bit. So it's nice and lined up. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the beginning and we're going to hide each letter. They're still there, but just so we don't get confused, and I'm going to start with the O. Okay. I'm going to start with the O, and I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to open the first letter that I want, and I found some coral that I like, so I'm going to click on the coral. How do I get it? It'll open a separate window. I take it from that separate window, and I place it into the my document. So I just unlock it, click and drag, and then drag it and place it. Okay. From here, I can put it in transformation mode, which is Control or Command T. And I just want to resize it so that it fits right on top of that O, so you don't see any of that O whatsoever, like this, and try to make it a little more appealing. There we go. And you hit the check. And it's as easy as right-clicking and hitting Create Clipping Mask. Now, this is very important. Because that layer got placed on top of all the letters, you need to drag that layer down over the O. It's very important that you are on top of the O for it to work. And I just did that. I dragged it, right click, and then create that clipping mask. So the next letter is the C. So we're going to unhide the C, select the C layer, and then I'm going to open up a new document. File, Open, and I've picked a clownfish for the C. So I'm going to click and open that one. I will unlock the layer. And then I will just use the move tool and click and drag it into my ocean right on top of my C. You'll see it's pretty big. All you do is edit transform or Control or Command T, and you scale it to the size that you need, like so. I'll make it a little smaller because I want that clownfish to show. And then I hit the check mark. And then I go ahead and right click the layer of the clownfish and I hit Create Clipping Mask. And now the cool thing is you can even still move that clownfish around if you want to have it show a little more. But just be careful not to cut off his face. And there you go, just so his face is peeking up there. Okay, really important. Unhide the E layer, click on that E layer. Okay, then we're going to go back and go to File, Open. And I found a different image. Where is it? There it is, I think it's the octopus. Same thing, unlock that layer. It opens it on a separate document. Click and drag all the way to your ocean and right on top of your E, the letter you want. This one's a big one. So Control T or Command T, and you'll see that the transformation mode is bigger than my document, and that's okay. That's okay. Some images might be quite large. That's okay, they're there. And I'm just going to go ahead and resize that over my E so I can't see the E anymore, like so. And then you right click the layer and you hit Create Clipping Mask. And you can see it's not a very difficult process. It just takes a little time, a little patience for each letter. You're going to go unhide your A layer. Select your A layer, okay? Then you're going to go to File, Open for the layer, for the image that you want to be over the A. And I picked the School of Fish here, okay? And I'm going to unlock it. And then I'm just going to use the Move tool, move it from there to the A, Control or Command T, and resize your letter like so. There we go. I'm gonna hit my check, and then I'm gonna right click on the image on the layers panel, and I'm gonna hit create clipping mask. And there's my A. And like I said, if you want to move it, you can. Right? So far, so good. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to my N, highlight my N layer, file and open. And I picked two. I found a turtle and I found a shark. I think I'm gonna do the turtle. Seems a little friendlier than the shark. I'm gonna unlock it, click and drag it to my ocean, and I'm gonna place it on top of my N there, and I'm gonna resize it again. Control T, size it so it's right in there. I'm gonna hit that check, and again, right click that layer and create that clipping mask. Now, it's really important to know that each letter has its own clipping mask, okay? And you did them separately. It wasn't a big secret. Now, the cool thing is let's say I want to be able to see this a little better, or I want to resize them all, okay? This is a really great step. All we're going to do is we're going to hold Shift or Command, or Shift or Control, Command or Control, and I'm going to select every single layer like so. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to hold Control or Command. I'm going to select every layer. I have to highlight every layer like this, like so, except for the background layer, and I'm going to group them in a folder. Now, the folder is located next to the adjustment layers and the create a new layer. It's in the shape of a folder. It actually says group, create a new group. What it does is it places everything into one folder into your layers panel, and it doesn't merge them together. It just puts them in a same folder. That way I can command that one folder to do one thing, for example. So if I wanted to transform them all, I could do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put them in one folder, and I can actually hit Control and T or Command T, and I can resize my letters and my images in one folder. I can also add a layer style if I want to do like a drop shadow so that I can actually separate that ocean, also the same thing, and I can add a drop shadow so it makes it a little easier to see. Make it a little darker maybe. There we go, and it does make it a lot easier to see. And you can see that I added that effect onto the folder instead of each individual letter. Okay, and that's something that you can do. So this is a great technique. This is great for shirts, great for a magazine, great for postcards, great for posters. It's a really cool effect. Like I said, it's not too difficult to add the clipping mask. It's just tedious to do it to each and every letter. So I look forward to seeing yours, and make sure you save it. You go to File, Save As, and always save it as a PSD on your computer or in your Google Drive, and you will title it clipping, clip mask, underscore, and your initials. And that's me. Ooh, I clip mash. Huh, there we go. I'll save it as your file type, and you save it to your desktop so that you can have it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me.